back porch. Last time we were here, we were talking about Capistrano, and this time we're going to be talking about Capistrano. I know somebody's probably saying, "Oh man, you've already talked about Capistrano." But you know what? Before I started talking about Capistrano, there really wasn't that much on the internet about Capistrano, right? Right. Exactly. And most of the stuff that I found about Capistrano, people were just assuming things. Like the spot that Capistrano met Susan Atkins had to be at the Topanga Corral, right? The place where Morrison was, that place. It had to be there, right? Because that's the only place that really, nope, wasn't there. And we're going to tell you today where it was. We're finally going to tell you where Susan Atkins ran into Capistrano. Today, on the back porch. And our information's coming from this book. It's a book that's really only available here on the back porch. Because it's a book that I had to go to Hippie Hill to get those flowers. I had to draw that picture. I had to collect these things. So it's a book that don't really exist, except right here. And in this book, I have a file on Cappy. I have a file on everybody, actually. And her file is like this thick. Give or take, because I still have some on the disc. But back here in the back, I know you're saying this is clickbait. No, it's not. Because back here in the back, the FBI searched Cappy down. And they took a statement from her. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Oh yeah, I was wondering, who is this chick? Anybody? Let me get a better picture of her. Okay, there we go. There's a better picture. Who is this chick? Does anybody know? I have no clue. Look how young Ruth Ann looks. She's not even paying attention. We don't know who the rest of these people are. Cappy looks so big compared to the rest of them too. But who is that chick? Anybody know? Well, this picture, just like these FBI files that we're going to read here in a minute, which are pretty interesting because they actually tell, this is the story that tells where Capistrano met Susan, because she tells the FBI in here. But back to these, like the mystery of this girl, this whole thing's a puzzle. This whole thing, this whole video is a puzzle, and you get to figure it out, because I have no clue who that chick is. And like the FBI, you know what they do? They block out people's names. Well, some names are kind of easy to figure out. Like I have some of them. And then some of them, I don't know who they are. So, it's still a guessing game. I wish the FBI wouldn't do that. I wish they would just leave the names in there. They say it's in there to protect the innocent, but it doesn't really protect the innocent because it makes you think of other people's names to put in the spots, So it makes other people guilty. Where nobody's guilty or innocent in this stuff anyway. I mean, it's to protect privacy is what it is. And why are you even putting this stuff out if you're protecting privacy? You're asking, why did the FBI even have a file on the Manson family? And what was this file called? And where can I find this file? And you can find it through a Freedom of Information Act. It's about where you can find it at. You have to pay too. That's the problem. So you got to pay for information. And it costs per page. It's just a bunch of stuff. But you can get it through a Freedom of Information Act. And it's called, the FBI case was called From Ford. Fromford. And it was after Lynette went and did the thing with Ford. They opened up a file on her so that they could go out and search down all the other Manson family members and see if they knew about the plotting of this thing against the president. So they interviewed Cappy in that. They interviewed everybody. They searched everybody down, and we've got a lot of those. We'll be reading them. And they even searched down Danny DeCarlo. At the point he had a gas station he owned in Oregon, and he was pumping gas. And they even searched him down. And check him out. He's pumping gas there in that picture. Can you see him there? They even searched him down. So it's like all these people that they thought were disappeared, they weren't really disappeared. You just got to know where to find them at, I suppose. You find them here on the back porch. That's where you find them. So let's give a little context here so you even know how I figured out that this was Capistrano in this file. Because all it says on the front of it is blanked out because that was the agent's name. So I just wrote FBI files in there from Sacramento. And it says, is Sacramento agent assigned Bakersfield, RA? That's all it said on the very front of the whole package. It also has B6, B70 written on all the pages. I don't know what that's for, but it has it. And on the other side, it shows that, I guess the file number was 175-113 out of LA. So let's read this thing. But as I was saying at the beginning, this is kind of like a Manson game show here. Because some of these people, I don't even know the names of them. Not like, I don't even know the names and I know no, I don't know everybody. I have to figure things out. That's how I get to know things. And anybody know who that chick is in that book? I don't know who she is either, you know? So that'll give you an opportunity, if you think that you are really smart at this Manson case, to fill in the blanks. Put it in the comments so I can write it in here, you know? But yeah, it gives you a chance to try to figure things out. But it tells you where that these two met. Not the exact location, but where. Barton said Ruth Ann Morehouse, also known as Whoosh, is known to her. She last saw Ruth Ann in 1970-71 when she left the corner in Los Angeles to go live with her sister. She first met Whoosh at Spawn Ranch in about 1968. She knew Whoosh then as a hard-working, strong-willed, and quiet. Barton became well acquainted with her during the vigil on the corner in Los Angeles during the Manson trial. So if you're wondering, they're asking a lady by the name of Barton, how's that Capistrano? Well, for the ones that don't know, Capistrano here went on to marry this guy here, and his last name is Barton. That little kid right there, he's infamous in the Manson family. He even got a nickname. His name's Elf. That's Lynette, and they all know each other. That's why the FBI came calling. And this is now Cathy Barton, a.k.a. Catherine Gillies, a.k.a. Capistrano, a.k.a. Kathy Myers, a.k.a. Strano, a.k.a. Silver Caps. Watch the videos. And of course the FBI already knew that she knew her. That's why she was asking about her. She's pretty cute right there, actually. She doesn't look like the person that would try to off somebody with a acid hamburger. Has anybody figured out who this is? Let's just move on with this report then. Barton said Susan Adkins was known as Sadie during the time they were together with Manson, and they were good friends. Yeah, Cappy considered Susan Adkins one of her best friends, actually, in the Manson family. Her and Pat Krenwinkel, believe it or not, they were both really good friends of Capistrano's. And also, Capistrano was really good friends with TJ later on. She was also good friends with Blue. She was also, as you've seen from the picture, she was also good friends with Lynette. She was good friends with everybody. You know, she was just that kind of person. But she was kind of mean inside. Her temperament was kind of... But anyway, let's get back to this. Barton said Bruce Davis is well known to her. He was a welder and mechanic and built most of the dune buggies. She said he's now in penitentiary and he's a Jesus freak. That was easy, because I know Bruce. Bruce was a welder. Bruce built dune buggies. Bruce, he's a Jesus freak. That wasn't hard. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got the first 9 boxes. the next 3 boxes, I don't know who the person is she's talking about, but they don't like her. So I would be assuming then if I thought I knew. But I'm going to assume in here, so you assume too, and tell me who you think it is. Okay, here's where I need your help. Barton said she met blank through blank and knew her as a young girl with a sweet disposition. In regards to the guy blank, he does not like Barton and he considers her too heathen. She said he came to the Minetta mine as he needed a job. She indicated he left mad because he did not like the work or any work. Okay, like I said, I'm only assuming here, but it sure sounds like a sweet disposition of the cute little Simi Valley Sheri and Danny DeCarlo, because I don't know if you knew it or not, but they got married. And if you did see, because there's a lot of people that watched that interview that they did where Sheri seems like she's just tearing it up, laughing and giggling. I know plenty of you seen it, where she's talking about basically the death of Shorty while she's doing it. And a lot of people were mad at her about them. In the comments, you can just see it. They're just fired up, mad about it. They're like, I hope Simi Valley Sheri. Well, I can tell you that they finally got a divorce. Danny and Sheri finally got a divorce. But before they did, I think they had a child. And you know what happened to that child? That child was violently killed in a car crash by a drunk driver. So the people in the comments that wanted revenge, you got it. How you feel now? Barton said TJ, aka Thomas Wallerman, and Barbara Rosenberg lived and worked with them for some time. She said they were very good friends. Okay, that one I'm assuming as well, because TJ and Barbara, pregnant Barbara, nobody's ever seen pictures like I've got. Pregnant Barbara were very, very, very good friends of Capistrano, and TJ was always looking for work. So that was another assumption. You fill in the blanks if you can find something that fits better. Let's move on. Barton was asked, who is blank? She said he's a skinny guy who used to come to the mine to see, probably Coyote, her husband. He used to do a lot of mechanic work on their vehicles. He was last there in July 1975. Okay, there's 2 more boxes for you to fill in because I have no idea who the guy is she's talking about here, either guy actually. But I do know the mine that she's talking about because she used to live there. And for you Manson people that want to stay in a cabin that the Manson family stayed in, Cappy stayed in a lot of them out there. And this is another one that she stayed in at 69 Minetta Road. It's well past Ballarat. It's not even close to Barker Ranch. But it's in the same area out there. It's in the Panamint Mountain area out there. And it's a cabin that you can go to and you can stay at because now it's an abandoned mine. But her husband used to be like foremans at these mines, and she used to stay in these places. And this was another one of her houses. And that's the mine that she's talking about, that this guy came to see him at. Oh, I almost forgot to mention. You know where the FBI found Cappy at? They had to track her down in the desert, in one of these cabins. And this cabin isn't really too far away from Barker Ranch. So you could visit this cabin and try to stay in it because it's still there too. It's in a place called Surprise Canyon. Back when she was living there, I think they called it Water Canyon too because it's got a lot of water that runs down through it all the time. So some people, the locals, probably call it Water Canyon. Surprise Canyon might be one area where it's called one thing, one area where it's called another. But she was living up there in a place called the Panamint Hilton. That's where they were doing this interview, right in the living room of the Panamint Hilton, right up here in Surprise Canyon. Surprise! It's the FBI. We're here to talk to Miss Barton about the Manson family. Okay, this is actually where she is invited to live with the Manson family. Barton said she was living in Los Angeles in 1968 with somebody that she phonetically pronounced their name. Okay? That's a clue right there. Phonetic. So maybe it's hard to spell or something. Who knows? But that's another box to fill in because I have no idea. Okay, Barton said she was living in Los Angeles in 1968 with blank phonetic, who was in the music business. Now that's interesting. And that's a name I wish they would have never left out. Barton said she was living in Los Angeles in 1968 with who was in the music business. Blank left her and went to Wyoming. So the dude left her and went to Wyoming. So now she's all by herself. And again, she's one of these girls that needs a house. We said that in the very 2 videos ago or something. Well, now she was living with a dude who was in the music business. She said this to the FBI, so now it's a proven fact that she was actually living with somebody in 1968 who was in the music business right there on them canyons. Okay, let's move on. And he moved and went to Wyoming. Okay. One day, she was with a friend who worked at a recording studio who mentioned Charlie Manson made good music. She said Manson was supposed to come in, but did not show up. Instead, she listened to the tape recordings of him. Her friend said Manson lived at Spawn Ranch in the San Fernando Valley, and she could live there if she wanted to. Interesting, eh? So wow, she was living with the guy in the music business. He up and split on her, went back home, and then she had a friend in the recording studio. And Manson family members, which I already know that she met Susan Adkins first. Susan Adkins probably handed her that tape in that recording studio and said, hey, come live with us. Cappy listened to the music. Why would Cappy even be listening? It sounds like she's in charge or something at this music. And who was her friend there? Was it one of these chicks in the music? Man, there's so many questions I got now, and I wish I could fill in those blanks. I wish they would have filled in them blanks. Maybe they couldn't fill in them blanks. Maybe it really, really would have opened up something big if they filled in them few blanks. But I don't know. You fill in the blanks. That was page 1. Well, no, it was actually page 2, because page 1 was what I showed you where it said Sacramento and stuff. So that was page 1 right there. We got 6 more pages of this thing. But that'll take me forever to edit. So I'll give you page 1 right there. And I'll give you page 2 as fast as I can. Or no, wait, like I said, that's already page 2. Page 3 will come next, as quick as I can. Because really, what's this stuff doing any good in this book? It's only one book. I have to hide it like Indiana Jones and make people search for this book later on when I die or something. But until next time, thanks for watching here. Thanks for watching the first page of about the 5th episode of Capistrano. Now you know we're going to have a 6th episode. Plus we're going to have more episodes because I can tell you a whole lot of things about a whole lot of people that nobody else can. So why not? They're dead. They can't sue me. So until next time. Peace.